In today's lesson, we'll be learning about surface area of composite figures. In a previous lesson, we learned that surface area is found by finding the area of each face, then adding them up. A cone is actually made up of a circle and a shape that looks like a slice of pizza, and R represents the radius, and S is new. S represents this slanted height. A sphere is a little bit more complicated and doesn't actually have a net. Therefore, the surface area for a sphere is 4 pi r squared. In our first example, we want to find the surface area of this composite figure, which means we need to find the area of each face, then add them up. I'm going to focus on this face first. This appears to be half a sphere. The equation for surface area of a full sphere is 4 pi r squared. Pi is 3.14, and the radius in this situation is 7. At this point, you want to use BEDMAS, which means you should do the exponents first before multiplying. So 7 to the power of 2 is the same thing as 7 times 7, which is 49. At this point, you can multiply these numbers, which equals approximately 615.4. However, this is a half sphere, which means I'm going to take this number and divide it by 2, which gives me 307.7 inches squared. Next, I'm going to focus on the side of the cone. This is that slice of pizza I talked about earlier. To find the area of this shape, we're going to need to know the slant height. However, it is not given to us. If you take a close look, you'll see a right triangle being formed. If you look at this right triangle more closely, you'll notice that this slant height is actually the hypotenuse of this right triangle, which means I can use Pythagorean theorem to figure out this hypotenuse. Next, I'm going to replace some of these variables with your known values. I'm going to replace A with the number 13, and I'm going to replace B with the number 7. You want to follow BEDMAS at this point, which means you should do the exponents before addition, which means 13 to the power of 2 is the same thing as 13 times 13, which is 169. 7 to the power of 2 is the same thing as 7 times 7, which is 49. You can add these two numbers up, which becomes 218. However, 218 is way too long for the hypotenuse. So that means we need to square root c squared, because the opposite of squaring something is square rooting it, and what you do to one side of an equation, you have to do to the other side. Therefore, the square root of 218 is 14.8. Therefore, this slant height, which we need, is 14.8 inches. Now that I have my slant height, I can now find the area of this shape, which looks like a slice of pizza. The equation for the area of the shape was pi rs. I know that pi is 3.14. I know the radius is 7, and the slant height I just figured out is 14.8. If you multiply these numbers together, you should get approximately 325.3 inches squared. To find the total surface area of this composite figure, all I need to do is add up the area of each face. I've gone ahead and done that already for you. Therefore, the total surface area of this composite figure is 633 inches squared. It is important to remember that overlapping faces are not included in this calculation. Therefore, I'm not including the face between the half sphere and the cone.